Right now, it's about 300K. Depending on the company. Right now, it's about 300K. Depending on the company, specifically AI companies are paying about upwards of 400K.
So entry-level SDR, you're going to be seeing a base of anywhere from 50 to 60,000 with on-target earnings or your OTE, base salary plus commissions of sometimes 90,000 or more in your first year. And I have friends that have been in tech for 5+ years. Once you're an account executive and you're selling maybe enterprise level solutions, 250,000 or more a year.
Roughly around like 125 all the way up to 200K.
Over 200K and the highest over $1 million. Woo! Yeah, them big dogs, they getting big money. Yes.
I mean, you already a big dog at 200K, but that's
the levels to this thing. Yeah, it's the product is a high demand industry. High demand, feel highly recommended.
Ooh, so I would say the average earning, depending on location, could vary between like 75 to like 110. Highest earning potential, it could be as high as probably like low 200s.
So when I started out, and I'm really transparent about my figures, 105K was my first job, and highest that I've seen is like 185. I mean, like they do cut you off, but I've seen like positions go up to 200K.
So you went from $40,000 a year to $400,000 in just 6 months of being in tech?
Yes.
We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the #2 population for 400 years. You're gonna get kicked out of being #2, you're gonna go down and become #4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were #2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become #4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
It's the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountains. Good afternoon in the central. Good afternoon. You know exactly who it is, Emily. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you Negroes, freethinkers, singers of the emancipated hot topic man, making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. How y'all doing, family? Happy Saturday to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining me live. I see you, Ivy Dreams. Yes, I do, my love. I see you, Beth. I see you, Roy Alexander. Root Trackers. Thank you guys for being early because class is in session. And to those of you who are tuning in from X and Racebook, welcome to the live. If you want to be a part of our illustrious co-host in the chat, you've got to come to ScrewTube to do that. I see you, Ally Michael Pan. Welcome to the live. All right, y'all. It took everything I had to stay on topic and continue out this series. I pray to get this series done today. Buckle up, buttercups. I hope you have your libations and you're ready to learn because this is going to blow your hair completely back. So we're just going to chew this elephant one bite at a time. We've got so much to share and so much to talk about. Y'all, I'm going to try to get y'all out of here at a decent hour, but y'all already know how that goes. Hi, Gregory Calloway. I see you, family. Thank you. Oh, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Yes, I've got all of your emails. You're not getting the notifications. I know. Y'all know I'm being shadow brand because I'm bringing that TR Ruth. I'm bringing that fire over here. Okay, the roof is on fire every time I hit this live because I am determined to find my tribe. I'm determined to find my Negro tribe and my ally tribe. And so, yeah, ScrewTube does not like that. You see, there's an all-out war over shutting down TikTok. They are really trying to deny us our First Amendment rights because they don't want this history told. They don't want this TR Ruth out there. I know some folks is out here on shenanigans, but God bless the people over there on TikTok who I think is about 170 million strong. And this government who wants to propagandize you to death, who wants you to be afraid to speak up and out about the things you are owed, Negroes, who want you to continue sheep walking to the polls to vote for your own ethnocide with immigrants. They are the ones trying to shut this down. I think it's supposed to go down on Sunday, but then Trump is coming into power. Let me help you understand something before I get into this. The repugnant clans and the demon rats are no good for the Negro. Let me be real clear that my vote was for deportation and closed borders and to weaponize and punish the demon rats, not for their benign neglect. No, the neglect is very intentional. And that is why I came up with my protest voter strategy. Hi, Chuck Wu. I see them. I came up with my protest voter strategy, and 28% of us heeded the call. And now I need y'all to show up in record numbers during the midterms. Because why do you think we're bottom cast? Because y'all keep voting the couch. There's more than the presidential election. While y'all vote the couch, 40% of yous. Our whole politics, our public and private sector are being taken over by the very people I'm here to talk about today. So let's just go through this and chew it one by. Hi, ADOS Truth. I see you, fam. Y'all keep it lit over here. I got to share and go back and forth. I'll get with y'all with your comments at the end of the broadcast. Thank you, co-host, for keeping it lit with the facts. All right, let's share the screen. Ooh, child, the ghetto. Wait till y'all see how much this is costing us. I got other videos to show you. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get into it, y'all. We're going to be here for a minute. Buckle up. Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, Lord, y'all not going to believe what this is costing our states. It is out of control. But like I said, let's go through it one at a time. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Okay, Mila Joy. Okay, so let's go with this one first. Okay, let me make sure you can see. I'm going to make me smaller and the slide bigger so you guys can see because it's going to blow your hair back. So right now, the first thing is first. Let me fly my banner. Hold on, y'all. Okay. There you go. So let me go back. I want to read this to y'all. The cost of illegal immigrants per state in 2023. Now, I want you, as you hear these numbers, reflect on how the demon rats and the repugnant clans constantly try and gaslight you that they don't have it to do. They owe us about 6.2 quadrillion and counting. That figure is based on, if my memory serves me, about 3 cents an hour for 18 hours per day from the time the country was formed until our emancipation. Yes, I have to remember the author who gave us that number, 6.2 quadrillion. But that is an actual number. That was done with a calculator. As folks sit up here and try to gaslight you that these numbers are made up, blase, blase, blah. So while they sit and gaslight you that they don't have it to do, listen, look at these wildfires that, oh, by the way, the fire department was begging for about $100 million to get everything up to speed to be able to manage these fires out here, okay? That Gavin Newsom denied them. Now he and Karen Bass, it's a whole nother broadcast. I'm not going to get distracted. What I may do is move my broadcast I had scheduled for tomorrow. Damn, not like us, they ain't us. I think I may move that to the celebration of King on Monday. That would be more befitting. And tomorrow I will bring you the shenanigans out here as we're trying to unseat Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom for the way they let California burn to hell. So we'll get to that either tomorrow or Monday. I think I'm going to switch those shows broadcast around tomorrow. Okay, so as they sit up here and tell you they're not going to build out your infrastructure to help save and protect you, they're not going to give you employment, they are going to use the money to our ethnocide, right? This is to replace and erase the Negro. I don't give a damn what you heard. White folks have already had 400 years of reparations in counting. They had us as chattel slaves. They gonna be all right, okay? I don't care how much they wail and cry and gnash their teeth. We are the ones on the front line of the guillotine. We are beyond a 911. This is code freaking red. So as they sit up here and gaslight you about what they ain't got, let's just scroll through how much each state has spent. This is your reparations, family. You know, the ones that New Scum and the California Black Legislative Caucus has been denying us a measly $12 million to build out the Freedmen of Bureau of Affairs out here. Yeah, 12 million. Let's talk. So far in 2023, we ain't even got the 24 numbers. The cost of illegal immigrations per state in 2023 alone. Alabama, for those of y'all who think this ain't encroaching on the South, spent $596 million. Now, see, what they're doing is taking our reparations, our taxes, and our Social Security. They're using our money, family, to finance our ethnocide. That's why you can't afford to vote the freaking couch. Anywho, back to the text. Alabama, $596 million. Alaska, $130 million. Arizona, $3.19 billion with the B. Arkansas, $356 million. California, look at this number. As New Scum denies us, as the California Black Legislative Caucus denies us, a whopping $30.9 billion in 23. Colorado, $1.94 billion. Connecticut, $1.28 billion with the B. Delaware, $244 million. Florida, $8.04 billion. Georgia, $3.14 billion. Hawaii, $771 million. Idaho, $405 million. Illinois, $5.27 billion. Indiana, $886 million. Iowa, $405 million. Let's scroll. Oops, I went too far. Kansas, $603 million. Kentucky, $367 million. Louisiana, For those of you who don't believe this is coming to the South, it's already there. Louisiana, 604 million. Maine, 90.3 million. Maryland, 2.14 billion with a B. Massachusetts, 2.16 billion with a B. Michigan, 1.28 billion with a B. Minnesota, 657 million. Mississippi. For those of you who keep saying this ain't coming to the South, 100 million. Missouri, 657 million. Montana, 45 million. Nebraska, 136 million. Nevada, 147 billion with a B. Okay. To California's 30.9 billion, might I add, they are our neighbors. New Hampshire, 108 million. New Jersey, 5.27 billion with a B. New Mexico, 174 million. New York, 9.95 billion. I just had a thought. While Jasmine Crockett, who I don't believe is FBA, I don't give a damn where you're born. I cannot find where these people's parents are from. I don't know if they first or second gen family. That's for the broadcast coming on either tomorrow or Monday, more than likely Monday. She's sitting up here putting the cape on for transgenders. Do you hear anyone in the congressional black caucuses talking about our reparations being spent in this way? But y'all either vote on the couch or you vote for demon rats, and that's why we've been taken over. That's why we are taxed without representation. Moving on. North Carolina, for those of you who keep saying this ain't in the South, 3.14 billion with a B. North Dakota, 43.25 million. Ohio, 332.4 million. Oklahoma, 273 million. Oregon, 1.47 billion with a B. Pennsylvania, 1.64 billion with a B. Rhode Island, 313 million. South Carolina, 746 million. South Dakota, 57 million. Tennessee, for those of you who keep saying this ain't in the South, 341 million. Texas, 5.35 billion. For those of you who sit up here and brag about how great Abbott is down there in Texas, a whopping 5.35 billion in 2023. The repugnant clans and the demon rats are in bed together to ethnocide the Negro. Utah, 931 million. Let's keep going. Vermont, 75 million. Virginia, 2.84 billion with a B. Washington, 2.62 billion. West Virginia, 12.9 million. Wisconsin, 246 million. Wyoming, 18 million. The author of this post is absolutely correct. Not only is this not sustainable, it is genocide to the Negro. This is genocide to the Negro. I will keep saying that, like Paul Mooney, the late great, said, until my teeth turn white. Okay? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. So please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Let's go to the next one. I'll be over to read your comments momentarily. Yeah. Do you see why I keep stressing that the new black media who's having y'all vote the couch is undermining the Negro lineage? You're playing Russian roulette with the Negro line when you sit it out and you don't go out here and vote against immigrants who have taken over our politics. When you don't run for office. As they sit up here and tell you they're not giving you 12 million and you've got to fight Pan-Africanist organizations who won't have of a measly 12 million that you are being gaslit and being played with to build your Office of Freedmen Affairs akin to the Office of New Americas established by Barack Obama. We ain't got time to tarry. Y'all need to get y'all booties to the polls. Come midterms to hold the line. The protest continues. Let me go to my next one. I'm just going to do them in a row and chat in between because, child, trying to put them in order is just, child, the ghetto. I just cannot. It's too much to share. Let me share this next sister. Let's see what's going to come up next. Here she is. This gorgeous sister tells it like a T.I. is. As Ramaswamy and Elon tried to gaslight you that you aren't the smartest people in the free world. They're lying to you. They are sitting up here lying and gaslighting you to make you believe that you're not the smartest of every lineage, of every ethnicity on the planet, because you've actually got to apply yourself. You don't have the money to cheat your way through, and you clearly don't have the complexion for hire. Let's listen to the sister Cook. Stand by.
But that didn't say anything to surprise me because I was one of the only American students in my biomedical informatics master's. That's essentially health tech. Earlier this month, I posted about how dangerous it is to have a whole lot of people working in health tech and affecting our healthcare who are not only unfamiliar with American politics and healthcare and culture, but they hate us and hold bias towards us due to all the propaganda they've been fed throughout their lives. And let me tell you something. They are not here because they're so much smarter than Americans. It's all rooted in capitalism because the amount of zeros that I had to hand out as a TA because of plagiarism, oh my God. The universities love international tuition because it funds their programs, and the jobs know they can exploit them. A lot of my classmates had, I think, 3 months to find a job or get out the country, and they would take literally anything. And we would get like job descriptions sent over to our university, and they'd share them with the students. And I was just like, you are very obviously seeking out H-1B visa students. They'd be like willing to sponsor, and it would have them doing 3 jobs for like $60K a year. And I would laugh at the job descriptions because I'm a full-blooded American. I'm built this country black. I can't be deported. I'm not gonna get exploited at the job. Vivek said the quiet part out loud. He got to.
And that's exactly why. Hold 1 second, family. We close that out. And that's exactly why they are using our reparations and taxes and Social Security to replace and erase us and our votes, might I add. When you vote Demon Rat and you vote the couch, this is what you get. This is what you set your lineage up for. And that is for the Gen Xers, the Gen Zs, the millennials. This is what they're faced with. Being the smartest and being dumbed down through our public school education system. This is why I'm pro school of choice. I just learned from one of my comrades that here in Southern California, at least the LA Unified, did you know, family, if you're in California, you need to spread this, make it go viral. You can literally pull your children out of these failing schools that have clearly decided to neglect our Black children's education in exchange for Jose, who can't speak English, okay? You can clearly take your children's monies out of LA Unified and put them in school choice. Yes, you can. One of my sister friends is a tutor at one of these high, excellent Black achieving schools. There's about 3 of them in Los Angeles. If you email me at thereprospect@gmail.com, I can get you the information. I just found this information out that they've got school of choice in LA, but most of us don't know nothing about it. So our kids are sitting up there being dumbed down, being prepared for the preschool to prison pipeline. You know, we tried to end slavery in the private prisons, but it didn't stop them from using. First of all, the bill failed because they like free slave labor off of Black folks. These are nonviolent offenders that are putting out the fires. And when they get paroled, they can't get jobs at the fire department paying. I already showed you on that in another broadcast, how well those positions pay. Anywho, I digress. Our kids are struggling under the white and immigrant oppressive boot in education. What you can take your own dollars. and take that out and put it into a private school education, to take your children someplace where they can be loved on by Black teachers, where they can be taught by Black teachers. 3 of them, 3 schools like that here in Southern California. And so you don't have to suffer. But what I'm trying to stress is that this is what they're doing. They're dumbing them down in the public school system. We used to run all of this. You heard at the top of the broadcast, the brothers and sisters tell you the kind of money that is in tech. These folks are lying to us, trying to make it seem like they're paying them $1 over quarter. Now, in some instances, they may be. I'm going to talk about Boeing momentarily when that article comes up. But I'm just telling you, there is no need. They're gaslighting you, Vivek and Elon, to try to sit up here and make it seem like they don't have the smartest, the absolute smartest ethnicity in the U.S. That is the Black American Negro freedman, descendant of the emancipated. Because it's not our culture to lie and cheat our way through the system. But we fight for equality. We fight for civil rights. We fought for affirmative action. We fought and achieved the 14th Amendment, that the demon rats, and the demon rats specifically, are weaponizing our never-ending Holocaust against us to our ethnocide. This is by design. Y'all need to wake up and smell the coffee, for real. Let's get on to the next, because I got too much to share. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm just going through my posts one at a time. Now, for those of you who think this just happened, no, Barbara Jordan tried to tell you, the late, great Representative Barbara Jordan. And I know Dr. Claude Anderson been trying to tell y'all for 50 years. But let's see how far our ethnocide dates back. Stand by.
Sudden in-migration of Cubans with bitter irony.
Blacks
view the sudden in-migration of Cubans with bitter irony. Black Miamians watched as Cuban exiles were given assistance, aid, and money that native-born Black Americans never received. Some Blacks began to feel that the Cuban migration and the federal government's attention to Cuban needs blunted demands that Blacks were making during the 1960s civil rights struggle. Jesse McCrary is an attorney in Miami. At 34, McCrary has had a fast-moving career. He's been an assistant state's attorney general and for a time sat as one of Florida's federal court judges. McCrary likes to remember that he is one of few Blacks that is able to maintain offices on Miami's Biscayne Boulevard. We asked McCrary what he thought the Cuban immigration means to Blacks in Miami.
For one, Tony, it means that economically, when you look at what the Cubans have done in terms of their economics versus what Blacks have done, it means that we are once again at the bottom of the barrel. There are no predominantly Black financial institutions in this county. Some people would say that, even though there is a bank here with a number of Blacks on the board of directors. But when you look at the control of the bank, where the major portion of the stock is held, it's held by white Miamians. Contrasting that.
That's all throughout the nation, family. There are no Black banks that aren't funded by white money, which is why they're Black in name only, and why they work harder to our ethnocide for immigrants than they do for us. Let's continue.
You have Cubans who have a bank that reportedly is one of the fastest growing banks in the country. Now, that poses
another thought for those of you who may not have seen my previous lives. I spoke about how Janet Yellen and Kamala Harris were actually using our Freedmen Bank forums to give money to white money banks and to immigrants. So that's what they do. This has been going on for a long time. Okay, this is talking about the Cuban refugee crisis. Okay, so anyway, they did the same thing. They literally gave them money in the name of the Freedmen Bank Forum, I think for about 4 or 5 years going, for as long as she was in office. So that may have been 4 years. They started the Freedmen Bank Forum. And if you look through the archives, you'll find, oh, what's the man's name? I see his face. Pascal or something like that, where he talked about how the Freedman Bank Forum gave him, I want to say, $70 million, which got him to $1 billion in assets. That took two banks, a bank in California and a black bank in California, and I want to say the other black bank in DC, that literally had to merge to achieve $1 billion in assets. What Skamala and Janet gave to Mr. Pasquale, whatever the man's name was. Look through the archives, child. I'm just telling you things that come to me as we do today's broadcast. But they literally gave him $70 million or $100 million to bring him to $1 billion in assets. And when he got an opportunity to speak, he spoke about how he's going to take that. There's 126 ethnicities. He's going to take that money that was given to his North Carolina credit union, and he's going to lend it to his people for businesses and for homes, off the backs of the descendant of the emancipated. Let's continue.
This is a problem because I believe that the whole strength of any community happens to be what kind of financial institutions do you have? Is there an institution that can make a loan to a man who wants to go in business? Is there an institution that is sympathetic to a man who wants to build a house? Is there an institution where he can borrow money to send his children to school? Now, if you don't have those kinds of institutions, then certainly when other people have them, that is white Miami, Cuban Miami, and then black Miami does not have it, it certainly puts them in a pretty poor position, I think.
Let's continue. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, family. So let's talk about the way these Indians have been lying and scheming and cheating their way through the system. And then we're going to watch a video. I'm going to do a couple of these little quickies, and then we're going to watch a video where I'll be commenting in between. It's a little lengthy, but it's worth it, because you got to know what enemy you're sleeping with, family. We're going to learn today.
And in some cases, I am working on it.
Hold on. This says the secret to becoming high-income ethnicity. Get high-paying jobs by faking yourself as a senior-level IT professional. Listen to this. They're training them how to lie.
And in some cases, I am working on it to the team members who are reporting to me.
Okay. So have you worked on any triggers in your experience?
Yes. I'm using triggers, but using the trigger, so I'm just analyzing how to use the trigger.
Man, hold on.
If these two are not achievable, I'm going with the trigger, and we used many events in trigger, like before, after.
Hold on. I think it's not you who is speaking. I mean, someone is speaking, someone else is speaking here, and you're just lip syncing. I can also hear your voice, the candidate who is sitting right in front of me. I got you. I mean, it's not the right way, man. I already told you that it's not the position that someone comes and gives you a task and you're gonna deliver it. It's a very senior level position where you need to manage the entire instance. I'm sorry, you're not going to continue this interview process. And going forward, I suggest you not to take like this. I mean, you need to be very formal and also at least practice before you take the interview, taking these kind of things. It's I clearly caught you. You know, the other guy is talking and you're also speaking in a very low voice, syncing up your lips. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
So he busted him. He busted him. Somebody was feeding him what to say, and this was what he was bringing into his interview process. Have you ever known of a Negro to do this at an interview process? If they're fortunate enough to get interviews, because now we're being discriminated against and told that we have to speak Spanish. And even when you speak it as fluently as Pedro, you don't have the complexion for hire. Let's continue. You saw the man cheating. This is what they do. This is what they do. So let's talk about it. So, this is the Business Standard. Saturday, January 18, 2025. Boeing engaged $9 an hour Indian engineers to build the 737 MAX software. And so you wonder why Boeing has been falling out of the freaking sky. Let's read. It won't let me read the whole thing. I ain't subscribing. I got too many of those. So okay, so it remains the mystery at the heart. It ain't no mystery. When you are paying people who lie and thieve and connive as a way of their culture that we're going to learn in one of the videos that we're going to be premiering, when you allow this to take place, you allow this to happen, it's not a mystery why your shit is falling out the sky, Boeing. Let's stop it, please. It remains the mystery at the heart of Boeing Company's 737 MAX crises. How a company renowned for meticulous design made seemingly basic software mistakes, leading to a pair of deadly crashes. Longtime Boeing engineers say the effort was complicated by a push to outsource work to lower-paid contractors. The MAX software, plagued by issues that could keep the planes grounded months longer at the U.S. regulators this week, revealed a new flaw. Was developed at a time Boeing was laying off experienced engineers and pressing suppliers to cut costs. We're literally taking our lives in the hand. Not only are they spending our reparations, our taxes, and our Social Security to ethnocide us, we're now putting our lives at risk by flying or doing any manner of thing where they're bringing in cheaper labor to replace the experienced engineers. Now shit's falling out the sky. Okay? Ooh, child, the ghetto. Let's share again. Hold on. More to share, more to share. So, this is what they come from. As they sit up here and dog us out, we don't even have ghettos. Our hoods don't even look like this. This is India. This is India. So Dinesh D'Souza states this is what Vivek Ramaswamy was talking about, and he isn't wrong. I experienced it myself when I first came to the U.S. and enrolled in the 12th grade. This is not about H-1B visas. It's about a sharp deterioration of academic standards in American public schools. Okay, I concur in part. Yes, it is about our failing schools, but they're being failed by design. They're being failed by design. It wasn't always this way. I grew up, I got a college degree. I've got a gang of work experience across industries, as do many Negroes who are on my side of the Gen X, which is closer to Boomer, okay? So yes, I was able to become a homeowner, to, amass $120K a year, do all manner of things, but even I was replaced from Wells Fargo Bank with immigrants who, oh, by the way, went about robbing and stealing from the customers at upper management's behest. Upper management was encouraging this. And then when the ish hit the fan, they fired 5,500 of them and gave John Stump a golden parachute of $143 million. So When you're embedding, you're complicit in our erasure and replacement with immigrants, you get golden parachutes. You get to rob the customers. We're not doing any of that. We're ethical people. We know our rights. That's why they're trying to replace you, because you're going to come back and have some words for that ass, okay? You're not going to sit there and take it. Let's continue. So I want to brag a little bit about how we do it, how we did it, and why they have taken everything that made us great out of the schools in order for us to be the slave prison labor and to make sure we stay up and to ensure us as a permanent bottom caste in the country our ancestors built with their lives. I just want to take a little moment to brag.
Computer scientist and engineer Mark Dean helped develop a number of landmark technologies for IBM, including the color PC monitor and the first gigahertz chip. Mark Dean was born on March 2nd, 1957, in Jefferson City, Tennessee. From an early age, Dean showed a love for building things. Dean was also a standout athlete, as well as a straight-A student. In 1979, he graduated at the top of his class at the University of Tennessee, where he studied engineering. He would earn his PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford University. At IBM, Dean became the chief engineer, working with IBM personal computers. He was later promoted into the role of Chief Technical Officer for IBM Middle East and IBM Africa. In 1997, he received the Black Engineer of the Year President's Award. Dean holds more than 40 patents, including 3 of IBM's original 9 patents. Dean is credited with helping to launch the personal computer age with work that made the machines more powerful and more available in homes everywhere. Computer scientist and...
This is who you are, Negroes. Hold 1 second. Let me close that out. It's still running. This is who you are. I know they've lied to you. They propagandize to you. They make you think you're lower than well poop. But that is the stock from which you are birthed. You can't name me not one immigrant whose inventions and intellectual property compare and measure up to that of the Negro freedman descendant of the emancipated. Let's keep going. Know who you are. And pull yourself up by your bootless straps until we can turn the Titanic around financially for you. You got to do both things. You got to walk and chew gum. You got to be your own reparations until we can get your checks cut. Let's continue. So one of my favorite, shout out to Black Alpha Network, Kelly Pryor, different people's posts. I mean, you know, if you know anything about X, you know that that's where politics is being done. That's where we're lobbying for the Negro. So that's why you see me sharing so much from X. I live on X to put my content together, to show you what's going on. With the mud, the grassroots is over here fighting every day like a second job, myself included. So Nas says, okay, so Diane Yep says, what's desirable about the U.S. is mainly that it's much easier to compete here. Nas says foreigners like yourself are not competing. You are getting preferential treatment, handouts, and welfare. As they sit up here and try to convince you that they came here with nothing and they pulled themselves up by their bootless straps the way the Negro has always been required to do since we fought and won our emancipation and refused to be expatriated to parts unknown in the world. They tried to throw away the shoes, y'all. That's the stock you're made of. You stayed and you fought. The rest of these people are cowards. They're running over here after our ancestors built the wealthiest country in the free world. And so instead of doing the same, akin to what MLK did when he took a chapter out of Gandhi's book of peaceful protest, not that I'm a fan of Gandhi's, he hated us, but I digress. Unakin to doing what King did with his nonviolent movement here in this country, they just flee. They flee. And they're letting the most heinous, most hateful of them which is why I call them Crayola wanton white supremacists with very little exception into this country to pile on top the Negro. As if whiteness wasn't bad enough, now wanton white supremacists is Crayola, and we all we got. So yeah, you're getting preferential treatment, our reparations, handouts, and welfare. Unlike a lot of people, I say that based on facts. Immigrants, legal and illegal, use the most welfare in America. H-1B/OPT work visa hustle equal preferential treatment. Shout out to Nas. Thank you. He's absolutely correct. They're being made more American than the Negro. They got some unmitigated gall to be rushing our communities with this nonsense before making us whole with our own reparations. They are using it to invest in replacing us. Let's continue. You got to get it, family. You got to get why you've got to show up midterms. You've got to get it. And hold the line, the protest line. Nas goes on to say, Truth Social on his repost of Elon Musk, people were destroying him in the comments section. I've never seen that before. The Trump team has no idea how much damage they have done by siding with foreigners over Americans. After we handle these illegals, there will be a reckoning. And so if we must, we will start ratioing Trump on Twitter. Trump says we just want a historic landslide and mandate from the American people, but Senate demon rats are organizing to improperly stall and delay the confirmation process of many of our great nominees. They will try all sorts of tricks starting very soon. Republicans must not allow them. Once again, it goes back to what I stated to you earlier. Both parties suck for the Negro. My protest voter strategy is not just for deportation, closed borders, not just for school choice, not just to end men and women's sports and bathrooms, but I also want a moratorium on legal immigration. So yeah, you should declare independence from both parties because they both suck, and you've got to get up off the couch and get involved and very engaged in running for office locally and in voting during the midterms. We can't afford to sit it out. I've already told you, these demon radically run cities and states, they don't change with Trump in office, okay? They're still going to do what they can to govern in the way that they are to give these illegals access to the polls. They're liars and thieves and cheats, okay? You can't sit it out. So yeah, I guess the bottom line is we got two parties, and y'all can't get us caught up in a perpetual cycle of lesser of two evil voting and then want us to vote the couch when our lives are on the line. You just can't do it. It's been 70 years of this nonsense. You can't do it. So we got the lesser of two evil right now, with Trump at least being for deportation, closed borders, and getting the criminal element out of the country. At least our Black men and women need to be getting job ready to take over the jobs when there's a vacuum here. But he's got to go after the corporations too. It's not enough to deport if you don't jail and fine severely the corporations that are complicit in hiring all these illegals in the first place. Let's continue. So, Nas says, wait, why Vivek and them haven't figured out how to handle their own trash? I thought they were the best and the brightest. They are supposed to help us with AI, but can't even handle basic sanitation. H-1B scam. Okay, and I replied, if you're so much smarter than the Negro, why haven't you made your country's economic powerhouses instead of coming here boasting while being assisted off our intellectual property with our amendments and our reparations. I then declared moratorium on mass immigration H-1B visas too. Okay? This is how you got to do things, family. Hold on. Gladiator asked, why do you think we have so many hot damn data breaches nowadays? He's absolutely correct about that. These illegals that lie and cheat and steal their way to top positions, paying 6 figures or greater to multiple 6 figures. And then that's when your planes start falling out the sky. So Jason says, this has been the norm for decades. Outsourcing became train migration replacement. 35 years of the H-1B visa scam. No lies detected. And he's showing a software engineer of Wield Labs, US, $125K to $200K per year. I'm going to try to speed this along because we already nearing 2 o'clock and I got a video to show you. And so then completely accidental asks, why after 20 plus years of pushing STEM do we not have qualified tech workers? Because you can push STEM all day long, but if the agenda by corporate America is for cheap labor, what they mean is cheaper than what they would pay you, right? We're in 2025. So what you were being paid 5 years ago should be doubled by now. Pre-pandemic, your salary should double to keep up with the cost of living, but they're not. So although 125 to 200K seems like a good deal for a software engineer, the bottom line is it's still lower than what it should be paying. 3 times as much would be between 500,000 and 600,000. Between 375K and 600,000. Yes. So that's why you can push them all day long. But you're working against a government and corporate who have decided that you're not going to have an American life. And so instead of fighting with you who knows your rights, they're just going to replace you. And they're going to use you to train your replacements before giving you a severance package. I watched on Prime Video last night this great movie starring Ben Affleck and Tommy Lee Jones called Company of Men. Y'all got to watch that. It's dealing with this very issue from a white lens. Yeah, it caused one of the men who were fired for corporate greed. He took his life. And so what I'm telling you, Negroes, is that you're far more resilient. We've been here, done that, got the t-shirt and the bumper sticker, okay? We've been doing struggle for a long time, so we've mastered that, so in that way we are protected. But although you don't take your lives, you need to still get the education, and you've got to lean in. It took me 18 months to get my current position. With all the education and experience across industries that I have. You understand what I'm telling you? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You need to grow the backbone and the spirit of your ancestor and refuse. The ones who fall back, refuse. No, you got to keep going. But watch that movie. It's very, very telling of what we're experiencing with immigration. Okay? So, Stephen Horn shared I got to share this one. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I want to memorialize this slide in my broadcast today. Okay, so Stephen Horn shared 7 of the biggest sponsors of H-1B visas in North Carolina, where y'all keep telling me it ain't encroached on the South, are recipients of the state's Job Development Investment Grant with a combined $128,328,750 in tax dollars awarded. Each of these companies has sponsored more visa applications for higher average wages than the non-visa jobs they are required to create to receive for the grant money. Each of these companies has sponsored more visa applications for higher average wages than the non-visa jobs they are required to create to receive for the grant money. H-1B visa holders are not counted as qualifying jobs as defined by law. So let's hold on, y'all. I don't want that to be gray. What's it doing? Okay, I don't know why that went gray. Hold on, y'all. Something happened. I think my screw tube, I think my internet stalled. Hold on, let me try again. Oh, it's still stalling on that. Okay, let's see. It's back. Okay, let me put my glasses on. That's really small. So, here are the top H-1B visa sponsors, North Carolina Job Development Investment Grantees. Infosys Limited, doing business as Infosys Limited of India. Cisco Systems, DB Global Technology Incorporated. Cognizant Technology Solutions, U.S. Corporation. Lowe's Companies, HCL America, Inc., and Ernst & Young. Visa application count, Infosys 3,361. The Visa app average base salary is $88,273. The grant year was 2017. The total grant to the company was $22,387,500. The total cost to the state, $29,850,000. Grant jobs, 2,000. Grant target average wage, $72,146. Now this, in a nation where the Negro freedman's median income is around $50,000 nationwide. This is not sustainable. I'm not going to read all that in the name of time, but you get the idea and you see the picture there. Let's continue. I did this one already. Stand by. Just a second, family. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm being shadow banned. I need your help to make it go viral, family. Thank you in advance. Nas goes on to say, America was a global leader before one Indian from India put a foot on American soil. We have never needed an infinite amount of Indians or any other foreigners. That was in response to Rupa Subramanya. Skilled immigrants have fueled American success, making it a global leader. Now the nativist MAGA wing threatens this, not for economic reasons, but out of hatred for Indians, in defense of at SRI Remick for at the FB. Okay, so basically, more revisionist history. They're trying to pretend as if they are the ones that have fueled America's success. When you got planes falling out the sky, data breaches, the whole 9 yards. When it's a known fact that they rob and cheat. Let me just, you know what? Let's get to the video. If we got time to finish these, okay. If not, I'm going to try to bring the rest of the slides back to you. I got to get to this video because it just tells the truth. Okay? Stand by. I'm going to be commenting in between. Just buckle up, babies. It's a minute. It's going to take a minute to get through. Okay? Now, this gentleman is from India. So his accent is really thick. So I've got the captions scrolling. Okay? So stand by. I just cannot. I can't take it anymore. I just got to show the video. Now, this is Jayant Bandari, Understanding India. So this is Property and Freedom Society, PFS, 18th annual meeting in Bodrum, Turkey, September 19th through the 24th, just last year. Let's hear what he's got to say about his own homeland. I'll be stopping intermittently because I don't want to get flagged. They may take the video down. You know how they do me, family. So let's chew the elephant one bite at a time. Listen to who our government is allowing into this country to our ethnocide. Listen.
Thank you, Dr. Hope. Over the last 33 years since I first left India, I have traveled to almost 100 countries and to many of them repeatedly. This, in my view, has given me a perspective on societies. India, which is what I'm here to talk about today, is the grandfather of the third world. The third world has 2 out of 3 human beings on the planet. 800 million people in India, which is equivalent to the combined population of North America and 27 nations of European Union, rely on free grains from the government. 1/3 of Indian children below the age of 5 are stunted. And that's an exaggerated figure in the sense that the number is actually much higher. A low single-digit Indians might have the material resources. Even among them, I have never met one Indian who is not constantly plagued by concerns stemming from lack of trust. He cannot trust his family, he cannot trust his friends, he cannot trust the institutions. India is a veritable hellhole.
Most people have no clue that in 2024, the best way to make money with Amazon is not with physical products.
Now, I want to say something. Let me interject. Forgive the commercials. I'm not paying them a gang of money to stop the commercials. So, yeah, when this program becomes bigger than, a couple thousand subs, then we'll revisit more expenses to bring you the broadcast. But I've got other things I choose to invest in. So you'll have to bear through the commercials for that reason. But anyway, I want to just compare things. He talked about their codependency on the government. Who's this sound like? It's the immigrants who rely by and large of our government for their business loans, for their housing, for their food. You've seen it. You've seen these illegals come here and get everything that they deny us, but accuse us of being the welfare kings and queens. Let's continue.
I will explain how Indian culture has become cancerous, warping and perverting everything that the West has provided it. This has significant implications for the West because immigrants keep pouring in. I will, in my talk, outline the structure or lack thereof that renders life in India a constant drudgery filled with moment-to-moment exploitation and abuses. As a child, my experiences was one where might is right underpinned everything, absolutely everything. Animalistic instincts subliminally were hardwired into us. Power was invariably abused, with those in control thinking that they had the God-given right to exploit, dominate, and dehumanize others. The display of authority was so extreme that any questioning, even you asked your teacher a simple question, or expecting those in authority to perform their duties, led to immediate retribution. Those in authorities, those days, and even
me speaking, that sounds very much like the Negro experience in this country from the time Plymouth Rock landed on us and the transatlantic slave trade. It sounds very much like that. And so it's no wonder when you've got folks like Vivek Ramaswamy aligning with wanton white supremacy. He and I are about the same complexion. He might be darker than me. This is why we've got to delineate. We've got to get away from blackness as a skin tone in this country and demand that we be cordoned off as an ethnic group, as a lineage. Because it doesn't matter the skin tone. These people are ravaged, racist, and they're in this country, and they raise their children to be the same way. And these are the ones in charge of jobs in the public and private sector, and now in politics. And it's not just them. And so this is what you're up against. People that come from shithole countries like Donald Trump stated, who get in power and treat us like shit. Let's continue.
Union rely on free grains from the government. 1/3 of Indian children below the age of 5 are stunted. And that's an exaggerated figure in the sense that the number is actually much higher. A low single-digit Indians might have the material resources. Even among them, I have never met one Indian who is not constantly plagued by concerns stemming from lack of trust. He cannot trust his family, he cannot trust his friends, he cannot trust the institutions. India is a veritable hellhole. I will explain how Indian culture has become cancerous, warping and perverting everything that the West has provided it. This has significant implications for the West because immigrants keep pouring in. I will, in my talk, outline the structure or lack thereof that renders life in India a constant drudgery filled with moment-to-moment exploitation and abuses. As a child, my experiences was one where might is right underpinned everything, absolutely everything. Animalistic instincts subliminally were hardwired into us. Power was invariably abused, with those in control thinking that they had the God-given right to exploit, dominate, and dehumanize others. The display of authority was so extreme that any questioning, even you asked your teacher a simple question, or expecting those in authority to perform their duties, led to immediate retribution.
And this is the same is true when it comes to the workforce. The same is true when it comes to the workforce. You see, these corporations know that they gain their wealth off of our backs. This country knows that they gain their wealth and their status off of the back of us. And so now the goal is to replace us because they know that we know our rights. This is union busting on a whole nother level. Let's just get rid of it all together and bring in the people that we can control and make them more American. While the Negro loses everything and suffers the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, underemployment, evictions.
Those in authorities, those days and even more today, and that's what I'm going to come to later, how India is worsening with time, they believed that their positions were not for serving others. That's invariably the case. No government person or person in authority, even in private sector, thinks that he's there to serve other people, to provide a service. He thinks he's in that position for personal gain, whether through bribery, which is omnipresent in that country and shamelessly asked for, sadism, which is a perversion of human character, and pursuit of reverence. They want you to prostrate in front of them, the authorities in the country. The only person who shows respect in India is the one, and was the one, who accepts a lower, subservient position in life, in the hierarchy. I'm 56 years old, I have never witnessed a situation in India where someone in authority took the initiative to address a problem he was responsible for. When I was at the university in India, a young boy, a male boy, was sodomized and raped by the janitors. I reported the matter to the authorities. I took this boy to the police and to the university officials.
3 years without my favorite dessert or snack because of diabetes. Now I eat whatever I want.
No one, not one person, stepped forward to take an action. Something that was very straightforward, something that was within their powers to take actions on. In fact, the authorities and the fellow students threatened me with grave consequences if I pursued the matter further. Now, this is what confuses me even now. I understand it intellectually, but emotionally, I don't get it. It confuses me and frustrates me no end.
Well, this is no different, family, than it is for us, right? How in the world can we have a congressional black caucus screaming and putting on the cape for transgender rights to women's sports and the bathrooms and not talking about the injustices and the police brutality in this country and the fact that immigrants are replacing us in the workforce, the fact that we're suffering in every metric of society? How is that?
That in a situation I just described, where even if I were corrupt, I would actually find a soul-enriching experience by booking a culprit properly, because I knew I wouldn't be getting bribes, and I knew that there wouldn't be any connections involved. India operates on two fuels, corruption and connection.
So does America.
Why did they not book that case? Indian authorities would do absolutely nothing, not even lift a finger, unless there's a material reward, money or sex involved.
Sounds like America.
Their apathy is a bottomless pit. Now, here is the problem. Doing your job in that culture is seen as effeminate by those in authority. Doing your job means that you are a weak-minded person. You are not macho. If you can shirk from your responsibilities, you are considered a macho. In that culture, there's no pride or honor in doing what is right. There's no concept of pride and honor in that society. But it goes a bit further, quite a bit further. If you call a plumber for repairs, he comes, he will see it beneath him to leave without creating a mess. He will deliberately do a shoddy job, even if it would not have taken him more time to do a better job. Why does this happen? A complex web of arrogance, egotism, servility, casteism, tribalism, sexism, rigid do's and don'ts, dogmas, and magical thinking drives what they do, leaving them emotionally constipated and incapable of making a rational or moral decision.
Sounds like America. Sounds like Crayola wanton white supremacists. Sounds like the white folks have imported the very people who mirror who they are. Sounds like a major Negro problem.
Fairness. Now, these are all European concepts. You think that these are parts of firmament. They aren't. The concepts like fairness, justice, trust, empathy, and impartiality are completely alien concepts to the Indian mind. They cannot.
And who brought those concepts to this country? Whose ancestors demanded these things in this country? That all of these immigrants, because everyone is immigrant here but us, we were the ones to establish that in this country. Our ancestors fought and died. Their blood and bones are in the soil. Only for these immigrants to come over here after the 65 Immigration Act and use our reparations, taxes, and Social Security with the help of our government to climb right over top of us and be our new Crayola oppressors.
Not differentiate between right and wrong. They simply can't differentiate between what is right and wrong. They do not have the concepts, the Western value concepts that you think are a part of the natural existence. They aren't. Indians are indifferent even when there is no cost involved in doing the right thing, in delivering fairness or justice. I would go as far as...
So, if it's free to deliver fairness and justice and they're not even capable, how much more incapable are they when the money is on the line? When you're trying to appeal to them for employment?
By saying that if they could deliver fairness and justice without any personal cost, they would still prefer not to do it, because they see doing the right thing as a sign of weakness. I guess anyone who has been...
Doing the right thing for them is perceived as a sign of weakness, when that is how we're wired as descendants of the emancipated. To have these people in this country, and it's not just them, it's a bunch of these immigrant groups, all of them. They do not allow immigrants into the country that align with who we are at our core. This has taken over because of the vote for the demon rats for 70 years. Or voting the couch.
To India on a budget of less than $50 a day would recognize what I'm saying here. If you spend $500 a day, you will never understand India. We were, as growing up, indoctrinated to be submissive. The indoctrination is so profound that Indians address even those slightly above them in authority as sir. Their behavior tends to be servile, sycophantic, and ingratiating. And they...
Sounds like the Negro.
call you sir even after they have moved through the Western countries for years, because that's how deep the hardwiring of submissiveness among Indians. But this, you should never ever take their calling you as sir as a sign of respect, because respect is another concept that is alien to Indians. When they call you sir, it reflects their view of you as a stronger person in the interaction, consistent with their mindset of might is right. They will demean you the moment you are in a weaker position. In this system, in the system of India, you are either higher or lower in the pecking order. You're either an abuser or the abused. Achieving equality is impossible in that society. Once a person has started living in that country for a while, he soon realizes that saying please and thank you are signs of weaknesses and reserved for those who wish to demean themselves.
Now, you see the difference in the Negro. Here we are outnumbered and we fought. It ain't nothing but Indians over in their country of India. Okay? Close to 1 billion people. 3 times as much as we've got here. And this is what they do. They fold.
It was
Sorry for the commercial.
Indians cannot maintain the institutions established by the British. These institutions have been completely hollowed out and corrupted. They have become predatory. The constitutions and laws hold no value in that country. The only forces driving these institutions are bribes and connections. You go in front of a judge and you bribe policemen and the bureaucrats in the court right in front of the judge. That's how openly bribe is conducted in that country. The higher you go, the only thing that changes is the quantum of bribes. If you go to the court, the level of bribe changes. That's the only thing that matters in that country. Street smarts, culturally, street smartness is highly valued in that country. Criminals who manage to evade justice are socially celebrated. People will, in social settings, praise those people who were criminal and evaded justice.
No different than how these crackers called Daniel Penny a hero. After being militarily trained to kill, snuck up behind Jordan Neely and choked the life out of him and walked scot-free. I hope you're seeing the similarities between the Negro experience in America and more of this nonsense that they're importing from all over the world. Let's continue.
A close relative of mine, brimming with pride, once told me that he would never pay the rent for the house he had rented. He declared that his dead body would leave the property. And that's what actually happened. Rationality is absent in that country. When someone is cheated and trust is nowhere in that country, he rarely seeks justice against the cheater. Rarely. Instead, he rationalizes his cheating of others. Men abuse women, women abuse children, women are innocent in that country, women abuse children, children abuse animals. Animals attack whosoever they can. Higher caste individuals abuse lower caste individuals. But then it's not a linear one-way higher caste to lower caste issue either, because lower caste people fight like hyenas to determine which of those lower caste groups is higher than the other lower caste group. It is a perpetual cycle of irrationality and arbitrariness. People...
Sounds just like America.
lie openly. Everyone knows everyone lies, but everyone lies anyway. Most people feel no cognitive dissonance because they cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood. And I'm going to come to it in a bit, explaining that it was the meaning of truth was a revelation to me when I moved to the United Kingdom. They convince themselves of their lies so much that they can no longer differentiate between myth and reality, fact and fiction. Now, I know this sounds dystopian, and some people who have never been to India are probably shaking their heads thinking this couldn't be true. But I cannot imagine what about India that is not dystopian. George Orwell was actually born in India, by the way. Conversations in that country are driven solely for personal gain, with a steadfast belief in a zero-sum game, or actually they prefer a win-lose game. If you don't lose in a transaction, they don't feel good about it. There is this strong element of sadism in the culture. Those who are closest to you will turn out to be your biggest enemies. Everyone in that country built solid, strong, high fences around his property. That is the first thing you do when you buy a property. Fully aware that his neighbors would encroach on his land if given a chance. You sleep without a fence on your property, and next day morning, your land would have been encroached on, and you can do nothing about it. Once I started living in the United Kingdom,
isn't that what's happening in this country? Where these illegals are allowed to take over your house if it's empty? Squatters' rights?
It took me years to comprehend why people in the West don't do the same thing. The concept of loyalty and honor are conspicuously absent in that country. Conversations revolve around backbiting, gossiping about friends, discussing celebrities, exchanging superstitions, and animosity towards other groups. Hindus hate Muslims. Muslims hate Hindus. Sikhs harbor huge animosity towards Hindus. These groups, however, within themselves fight all the time.
And this is why Pan-Africanism must die for the Negro to flourish in this country. There's nothing different that he described than is what's going on in the continent of Africa. This is who they are. And then they want to ride us and call us xenophobic and call us, what did Fat Joe's fat ass call us? Called us racist terrorist is what he had the nerve, the unmitigated gall as a Puerto Rican to call the Negro. All because we're putting the gate up. All because we're demanding delineation from this savagery that comes into this country, and everything ill about it, everything diabolical about it gets displaced onto the Negroes. From Luke and bringing that Caribbean thought-ass culture up into this country where they popping poussoir all over the place. Every single time they want to name it and label it as the Negro. Everything's black, which is why flat blackness is to our ethnocide, and we must fight against it. It doesn't matter what they call us or what they say about us. Hold on one second, family. I'm live, sweetheart. Yeah, they bring all of their diabolical ways into this country and want to displace and call it black. I was watching something where this woman, some lady named Joy Taylor, who was actually sleeping her way to the top. Now, this woman looks biracial, but what do they call her every time they refer to her? Because she was brought up on some lawsuit as to having say after she slept her way to the top of the Fox Sports, okay, just giving and trashing her body away. Now they want to call her black after she was called out for saying that if the man turns on her, she's just going to name it rape. That's for the other video. They damn are not like us. They ain't us. More than likely coming to you on Monday. But yeah, everything that's diabolical gets couched in blackness, and you can be looking white as a driven snow. But you have one drop of blackness in your line, and now it's called black when it's diabolical. These are the ones that bring that here, and they want to admonish us for gating up to keep our culture intact, to keep our dignity intact, to keep our respect intact. They want to bring their heinous ways into this country, being sponsored by the government with our reparations, and then want to call us the very thing they are. Let's continue.
Everyone atomized. Yet, it is the hatred for the other group that superficially unites them. When I first traveled to the United Kingdom, I was amused to find
all of these groups, hatred for the Negro unites them in this country of our ancestors.
That animals weren't fearful of me or aggressive towards people. I was surprised that those in power did not expect servility or reverence. For years, and even today sometimes, I feel uneasy in a situation when I need someone to do his job and he does it. I feel as if I'm not doing my part of the transaction by offering him bribes. That's how you grow up in that society. I doubt if I connected the concept of truth and with the concept of loyalty and honor to their deeper meanings until I had lived in the United Kingdom for a year. It took a long time for me to start understanding the deeper meanings of these concepts.
Dentists hate when you do this, but they can't stop you.
Guys, sorry for the commercial.
This new $100 dental.
I was working in an office in Manchester, and during that time, someone told me not to exaggerate while promoting the organization, something I was responsible for during my summer days. For the first time in my life, I began to see that people wanted to speak the truth for the sake of speaking the truth. I had always, of course, known the word truth, but for the first time, I started to grasp its essence. Now, strangely, very anomalous in India were my grandfather and my dad, who were in financial matters very extremely honest and held self-respect very highly. Our family was pretty reasonably well off.
Let me disclaimer here. There are exceptions. I'm speaking collectively. There are exceptions to what I'm speaking of here today, okay? Just so you know, it's not all of anybody. Lord knows we got enough coon Negroes undermining us for their own individual reparations in this country. It ain't all immigrants, okay? There are exceptions.
And well-connected politically. But this only allows me to understand 25% of India's depravities and degradations. I simply don't have an understanding of what else really happens in the country because I'm not a woman, I'm not from the lower caste, I don't live in slum areas, and I'm not raped and brutalized by the police the way 80 to 90% of Indians do. The problem, however, is that if you invited someone who understood, who had experienced more than 25% of Indian depravities and degradations, his mind would have been fried by what he would have experienced, and he would have been incapable of communication. Indians, of course, fail to differentiate between the difference between depravity and non-depravities. So here is the foundational principle to understanding India. It is an amoral, irrational society devoid of values. Any values you try to instill will slip off like a water off a duck's back. In my lifetime, I have seen a continual worsening of Indian society. Whatever grace and civility Christian missionaries and European colonizers had instilled in India, in Indians, has been slowly but surely eroding. I distinctly recall the first day I was outside the country. I flew in.
Excuse me, and then who taught these European colonizers civility? As they sat up here and called us savages. Who brought civility to the European, the colonizers? The ones who went around the world enslaving us in the name of Christianity. Who weaponized the Bible against us to keep us enslaved? Who gave them their humanity? So it's no wonder to me that countries like India take on the worst parts of the European colonizers in the name of Christianity. Let's continue.
Into London, I was on a train to Manchester. What I observed outside the train made me very gloomy. I saw dull-looking houses, which were too clean for my taste, very clean waterways and very clean air. The absence of hustle and bustle in the trains and calmness of the train made me disoriented and gloomy. I did not know how to cope with a situation where there was no constant assault on my senses. With time, in living in the West, I realized that for most immigrants, this situation of calmness, peace, lack of noise, lack of smell in the air leads to an existential crisis and a compulsive need to recreate India wherever they move to. That is why even when you go to a $1 million house ghettos in the Western society, occupied by Indians and other third world people, you face familiar smells and noise and chaos.
Isn't this what America is becoming? With the help of the demon rats and the repugnant clans? A third world country? He said they come here and they recreate their diabolical circumstances wherever they go. Let's continue.
Desperately need those smells and chaos and a constant hustle and bustle. They create never-ending emotionalism, fruitless conflicts, and intellectual inbreeding in those ghettos in the Western society. When I was in the Manchester Business School, we were given the fob, the electronic fob to enter the university whenever we wanted to, 24 hours a day. The fellow immigrants I talked with, we always wondered if British were so stupid that they trusted us. This was so unusual, so completely unusual for us. Most of these people, however, most of these immigrants would never try to grasp the emotional significance of trust and gratitude. Worse, they discovered as time passed by that complaining often led to material benefits. The only thing they genuinely cared for in the multicultural West. Once a friend of mine and I went for a drive in Manchester. My friend had had a couple of drinks too many. He ran a red light.
I'm going to stop it there, and we're at like 2:40. I want to come over. What I'm going to do is pick up so I can finish this tomorrow in the 5th part of this, okay? So I'm going to pause it there. You get the gist. You get the idea. I want to get to some of your comments before I pray us out. I'm going to definitely move damn and not like us. They ain't us. I'm moving that to Monday. I'll come tomorrow at 5 to do part 5, and I'm going to keep the rest of my slides open so that we can continue. There's about 20 more minutes left in that video, and I definitely want to capture the whole thing here. I pray that ScrewTube doesn't shut my video down like they often do when I'm dealing with things that they don't like for me to address, but it needs to be addressed. You need to know the nature of the enemies you're allowing into this country with your vote. You need to understand the enemies you're allowing to take over in the public and private sectors with your votes, or lack thereof. You need to understand that these folks are here to take from you, and that they view you and your traditions and your customs as respectable Negroes as weak. And they are here to prey on your weaknesses and to get you more invested in crying over them to be here than you are to end mass immigration and illegal immigration by weaponizing your vote. You've got to understand what the hell is really going on, and I am here to show it to you, okay? Anywho, let's get to the comments before I pray us out. I'm going to the top. I'm only going to read the most relevant ones, okay, family? In the namesake of time. I can't believe it's 2:42. Let me jump. Hi, Dirty Laundry Media. Okay. Fred Mayo the Great. What are you talking about? He says they used your money to fund Elon Musk. You can't claim money you haven't even filed for. Black people will continue to be the laughing stock of the world, and people like this is why. Let me get you all the way together, Fred Mayo the Great. All of our reparations are being used, and Elon Musk is an immigrant, fool. That's what I said. Our money is being used. Our reparations, our taxes, our Social Security, none of which any of you immigrants have paid into the base of, is being used to our ethnocide. I'm clear about what I said. That's our government, idiot. So you're going to be blocked because you don't know how to be respectful. So there you go. Goodbye and good luck to you. Ban user and delete their comments. I'm not for y'all's bullshit. You come over here hating on the Negro, talking down and talking slick to the Negro instead of kissing our ring, kissing our boots, and being an ally. You will be blocked, never to return, unless you create another whole way to get in here and to get access. And even then, when you talking slick in my comments, you will be banned and you will be blocked. You will not come over here and traumatize us with your BS no more. That's not going down. All stock Americans, original whites, benefited from the Homestead Act of 1865. Correct, Ivy Dreams? And now this is a whole nother wave of giving away the Homestead Act. It never ended. Giving away the Homestead Act has never ended. It is now called things like student loan debt erasure, when we know full well only about 20% of our collective have degrees for a myriad of reasons, which I don't have time to get into. That largely benefits the immigrants. They came over here after Columbus. Not congressional. Yes, congressional with a K-E-W-N, Congressional, Beth. Black carcasses. That's their new name. You know I got a nickname for everybody. Oh, yes. We have to investigate Black folks' lineage. Absolutely, Ivy. That's what Monday's program is about. All of these folks pretending to be Black American usually are from someplace else, and they're in these positions to undermine us and deny us the reparations we are long overdue. They're allowing themselves to be used as Crayola wanton white supremacists, and they've gotten so clever because I was one of the first to expose them after I started researching once Yvette Carnell from Breaking Brown taught us to always ask, who you? When she started asking that, when she told us to ask that question, I noticed in my research, you can barely find what these people's origins are. They've gone through and scrubbed it. But in many instances, you can tell because they're not referring to them as Black anymore. They're calling them American. But you can't find the origins of their parents. So you really don't know if they're first or second gen. That's by design to keep us sheep walking to the polls. Now, in some instances, you can tell by the way they spell their names, even if they are American sounding. Like Yvette Clarke. She's an immigrant that's now the head of the Congressional Black Caucuses. We're going to get into that on Monday. But she spells Clark with an E on the end. So I can tell by names. I can listen to the way they speak. They sound differently, even though they've learned how to quasi attain the Negro dialect. But it's still different. If you listen close enough, you can tell by their dialect they're not from here. So now that we're exposing them, now that we're fighting for delineation, they're hiding where they delineate from to our ethnocide. She goes on to say the delineation movement is necessary for our survival. Absolutely. Toby, bye. I'm not over here. Listen. I'm not over here to entertain folks who want to try to gaslight me that reparations will never happen. They told our ancestors the same thing, family. They told the ancestors, you will never be free. And then there were a bunch of Negroes that held on to their masters like Stephen from Django and ratted out those of us who insisted on our freedom, those of us who fought back, right? But had our ancestors listened to this bullshiggity, we'd still be on the plantations picking cotton. Had we not continued to fight. And so if you're in here being negative Ned or Nancy, you're being banned because right now the Negro don't need that nonsense. Go over on your own broadcast and talk about what we're not going to get. You're not doing it on mine. Hi, St. Thomas 2009. Hi, ADOS True. Mama Debs, I see you, fam. She says they are all recipients of our welfare. Yes, Mama Debs, because they're all immigrants. We are the only indigenous people in this country. We were here before Columbus, and then many of us came on the transatlantic slave trade. We were doing voyages long before Columbus. Thank you so much for clearly articulating all this affects our interest. Yes, ADOS Truth, Pi 180. Are we camping out in front of the White House Capitol soon for our reparations? Every weekend for a year. We can rotate. We have to be seen to be heard. Let's set a start date. Hi, Pi 180. That clearly is someone else's to do. My cup runneth over. I don't have time to fly out of California to be over there, not even for one weekend. There are other ways we need to fight. We need to fight by running for office at every branch of government. That's how we really need to fight. And we need to weaponize our votes. We need to protest vote and not allow the demon rats to be in control of the country until they find a way to cut our checks in advance of the vote. We've done it their way for 70 years. If they can put a man on the moon, surely they can figure that out. But no, the demon rats have got to go, even if that means Rome falls, because they were the ones to declare war on us first. We are simply returning the missile. So what is mine to do is what I can be in control of in between my day job. And that's coming over here on the weekends to teach, and as time frees up anywhere, to get on here and sound the alarm. It might be yours to do to organize in that way. That's not my mission. No immigration, full stop. Absolutely. Bruce says, I don't think the orange man is going to jail his complicit corporate buddies. He's complicit in using immigrant labor too. Absolutely, Bruce. That's why I stated from the top. That's why I stated from the top that the demon rats nor the repugnant clans are for the Negro. I'm telling you, this is about protesting the demon rats who we've been most loyal to. We know that he's going to get the hookup and he's going to hook plenty of people up. But if he can at least get the criminal element out of our communities and make space for the Negro to get work so they can afford to get married and have Negro babies, then it was worth the vote. It was worth the vote just to defeat Skamala. What makes y'all think she wasn't going to do the same damn thing? Because she had already done it. Do you know how many H-1B visas were doled out under her and Joe Crow's watch? So the difference between the two is in one of my slides. The difference between the two is Trump has never said that he did initially say he was against the H-1B visa initially, his last term. But during his campaign run, he wasn't talking against the H-1B visa. He was by and large talking against these illegals that have not been vetted and vaxxed coming over the border. So it doesn't come as a surprise to me that he's in support of the H-1B visas. What I'd like for whomever's at that table representing the Negro is to bring out the data that I've brought you here. That a lot of them are lying and scheming and cheating their way to the top. Because as we just witnessed in the video we just watched, that is their nature. That's how they are culturally raised. To lie and thieve and cheat, and they don't even trust each other. That's not the way of the Negro, who is responsible for more inventions than all these immigrants combined. As they try to sell you on the fact that you're too dumb to do what you already did. Make it make sense. Ivy says, American people do have STEM degrees. They are not hiring us. That is absolutely correct, sis. And the ones you saw at the top of the video, they are saying tech jobs are black jobs. Every job in this country is a black job. Every one of them. So yes, they are not hiring us. And this is what happens when you allow immigrants to take over in your politics. I'm going to show you some footage from Chicago's city council meeting. They're literally giving illegals the right to take the mic at a council meeting where Brandon Johnson is and barring Chicago Red from speaking. These illegals have the right to take the mic. They are in the country illegally. What we would be placed under the jail for. You see how the demon rats create our problems? They want our vote to be the solution to our ethnocide. Wake up and smell the tea leaves, y'all. Mama Deb says, and when they get into position, they only hire their own people. Discriminating against American Black. Absolutely, Mama Debs. That's what I just went over in the broadcast. That's exactly what they do. They lock us out. It doesn't mean that we're not more than smart enough for these positions. It doesn't mean that we don't have experience up the wazoo. You simply don't have the complexion for hire. But if you're a Black immigrant, you throw on that accent and you put down your cosplay of the American Negro, you have a better chance of getting gainful employment than even the Negro. This is by design. Hi, L. Hall. Stop voting blue is the answer. Oh, yes. My protest voter strategy is not a one and done. No. We must do this for several election cycles until they hear us. Because as you see, they are pretending not to hear us. They are pretending that we wanted abortion, that was our demand this election cycle. While illegals birth citizens. They like to pretend. They're blaming this loss on everyone, giving everyone credit but the Negro. We did that. We're the swing. And so, yeah, you've got to start voting for the demon rats in protest. That's the only way to return the missile, and we must do it for several election cycles till they get some act right. Let all of it burn. If we can't eat, if we can't flourish in the country of our ancestors, nobody freaking will. You are doing a great job, Angela. Thank you, my love. And thank you for always being here. For my faithfuls, I thank y'all for joining me every time I go live. Y'all are appreciated. Let's see here. Oh, I can't see that. The Alabasters are mostly immigrants too. Alabasters. Listen, I call it Crayola, wanton white supremacists with 3 Ks, okay? The man is telling the truth about his people. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I can't believe they didn't strike that down. Because Lord knows every time I tell the truth, they strike me down. Copy that. These people are horrible. And you got to know who your enemies are, Ivy. That's why when I saw that video, I said, I must share this with my viewers. You must know who they are. Your tears must only be reserved for your lineage. We must gate up. We must. Here's our step down from that BET because he wasn't ready for the backlash. Oh, girl, Root Trackers, he already got all the smoke. FBA came for his head. And I mean, all the other new black media picked it up and kept it going. I'm going to introduce some of that in my broadcast on Monday. It's too much going on, and I don't have enough time to bring y'all everything I want to speak on. But some of that will be incorporated in Monday's broadcast. She's referring to Fat Joe. You know, folks always love everything bad is black. Everything good about the Negro and its creations, they love to adopt and say it's their creation. That's called revisionist history. You revise it so no one is the wiser. And I'm proud of the descendants of the emancipated, whatever you call yourself. We all bleed descendant of the emancipated. I'm proud of us. We're not sitting back in the cut and allowing folks to rob and steal from us and take credit for our greatness while sticking us with all of their debauchery. We're not sitting down and taking this crap no more, and I couldn't be prouder And I am participating in that. And that broadcast on Monday is going to make your hair stand on its ends. I'm exposing all of them. Okay? All these thought pockets and these folks selling us out in the congressional black caucuses and these idiots running around here like they created hip hop. There ain't a genre of music in this country that didn't originate with the Negro. This country and the world, including country. That's why they mad with Beyonce for coming out during that halftime show, showing them who the mother of country is, who is the father of country, who's the parents of the blues, of jazz, of pop, of rock and roll, of hip hop. That's the Negro. Yeah, we gonna be having that over here too. I'm gonna incorporate a little bit of it. Negro freedmen, foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slavery must delineate. Yes, we must. And we must continue to lean on to the Office of Management and Budget. On Monday, I'm going to incorporate a little bit of the great Asan Powell from a space where she was speaking on this very issue. I'm hopeful to have her here live as a guest. I just shared with her that I'm moving the broadcast to Monday for Damn or Not Like Us, They Ain't Us. That broadcast is coming Monday, and I really hope she can be with us. But if not, I've already got the tape on ready to share. I'm going to finish the fifth and last bit on the Indians' foolishness tomorrow. And then I'm going to, at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then I'm going to bring the other broadcast that I scheduled for tomorrow. I'm going to reschedule for Monday. I'm not sure what time yet. It may go around 1 in the afternoon. I just have to see. What is this Indian scholar's name? Jayant Bhandari. And that's Jayant Bhandari. Bhandari. Okay. Oh, she got his name when I pause it. Great lecture. Thank you, love. Great program, sis. Thank you, Bruce. Yes, I love it. Thank you, sis. You're welcome. TRP. Oh, hi, Maurice Haru. I love the prayer you pray us out with. I think I got it. The light of God surrounds us. Oh, the love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Why, family? Because you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Don't you ever forget it, family. I love that, Maurice. Wherever Negro freedmen and God, wherever Negro freedmen and its allies are, God truly is. Because, family, look at you, Maurice. Get down, get down. Very good. Someone loves my prayer. I got to protect us, y'all. I got that other one. I got to find it and bring it back. My declare and decree one that I borrowed from Shavi Zane. I've got to find it because we've got to declare and decree this wickedness up off the Negro. The percentage of Black American freedmen who are fighting for reparations today are likely equal to the number who fought for civil rights in the 60s. Unfortunately, I think too many of our folks are cooning out. Bruce, no, we're not. The real ones are leaning in. You know what? The mainstream media is not going to advertise what the grassroots and the mud, the soil is doing. They want to quiet our reparations fight, right? Just like they refuse, well, I think I heard in Phil Scott's space that they're actually starting to give us credit for their loss. You know, they kept trying to give credit to Latino men. Well, this is the way they always vote. Half of them vote Democrat, the other half vote Republican. Ain't nothing different. But what was different was that 28% for closed borders and deportations. That was different this time around. 8% of the Negro women and 22% of Negro men. So yeah, they don't want to talk about that though. And nobody can tell me the numbers that stayed home. I can't quantify that. I have to deal with the registered voters. I don't know the number of y'all that sat the couch, which I totally disagree with, because you still got local folks. And when you don't vote local folks, you get the crap that you got going on right now. You get crap like Karen Bass, who all of a sudden wants to pretend to be black. I got stuff to show y'all. She ain't us. But now she crying black because of her epic failure concerning the LA County fires. She's the mayor. Newscomb is the governor. Yeah. So, darling, listen, the bootlicks are the ones cooning out because they were never about that reparations life to begin with. But I see us pushing on it all the time in the X spaces, okay, in our broadcast. I know I named and gave my broadcast a name, the Reparations Perspective, so reparations will remain relevant. Every time you tune in, you got to acknowledge reparations in the name. So yeah, darling, it may seem like this movement for reparations is dying, but actually it's on steroids since the advent of the internet. We all came together around 2016 and started getting educated on Breaking Brown. Formed the former ADOS movement. That's who we are. So we are putting in work, and we're also doing work to get relief right now. Teaching people how to become commissioners on some of these boards where money is being given away to immigrants in the name of our Holocaust, like arresting us and jailing us, incarcerating us. Do you know there's money in your states designed to help make the people whole who were imprisoned for marijuana? Now that the state is turning a profit, and illegals and white folks are at those tables being the commissioner, and they're paying each other. That reparations. So there is low-hanging fruit that we're out here attaining. We're not, some of us are on reparations, the others are on the low-hanging fruit. And if you want to learn how to get to the low-hanging fruit, Gmail me at thereperspect@gmail.com. It's scrolling in the bar below and in the description, okay? Hi, D. Shep, ATX Original. Seeing that they've been against us from inception, why would we think they would change over several cycles? I don't know who you're referring to, Shep, ATX. My thing is, I'm awakening our people to the fact that they're voting for their own erasure and replacement when they vote for demon rats. Demon rats were the ones who fled the country with over 25 million. I don't care what you heard. Over 25 million illegals. And dumped them into black neighborhoods by and large. That can only happen with the black vote. Brandon Johnson, Eric Adams. So I am trying to awaken us to the fact that we need to continue coming midterms in 2 years. You see, it took 5 years to get my people, to get 28% of our collective to vote for deportation, closed borders. That was 5 years worth of work. Many of y'all didn't see it unless you were over here already rocking with me. So I don't have time to tarry. I must continue to lean in my protest voter strategy. Yeah, because it's not no one and done, and I've always told y'all that. So that's what this broadcast and all of my broadcasts is about, to get us, the loving Negro, to stop loving on everyone else and carve out enough space and time to put the mask on our lineage so that it won't come into full fruition. And no other person was running on deportation, closed borders, but Trump. Now, how much of it will he get accomplished? I really don't know. But I know that that was a better vote than for Skamala, who, as the border czar, participated with Joe Crow and said she'd do nothing different and was never going to do a thing for the Negro, and allowed those borders to be wide open to unvetted, unvaxxed illegals into our communities. He was Trump became the lesser of two evils. Hi, Michael. Although they know that Black American freedmen of chattel slavery need cash payment reparations, Democrats don't want to be pressured to cut a check. Exactly. That's why we must put pressure. We must continue to sound the alarm on reparations in the quadrillions. We must continue this work. They don't want to hear it, which means that, listen, whenever the demon rats be for it, we must be abjectly opposed. When they are against it, we must scream it every time we open our mouths. We must scream it until our teeth become white. I heard something in the background like, what's that? People working in the building. Yeah, we must say it till our teeth turn white. We must lean in on the things that they hate. That's where we need to go. The very things they detest are the things we need to embrace, and the very things they embrace are the very things we detest. That's the formula. I figured it out some time ago. I am wondering if you have received my email. Michael, you send me so much mail, family. I need to take a day to catch up with your mail. Hi, Queen Yasmin. I do get your mail, honey bunny. But listen, I've got to take time to read your mail. I'm so sorry, but I've got so much work. I will get to your emails, though. I see them, though. I am getting them. Thank you. That's where Skamala got that hijacking from, at least to continue it. Root trackers, you ain't ever lied. This is who she is. She originates from India. She is East Indian Brahmin caste. That's going to be a part of Monday's broadcast, where she literally said on Club Shay Shay she's not black. But she said it where she had the fewest numbers watching. She didn't say it on the national stage. She wanted black folks to continue to vote for identity politics to our own peril. 92% of black women did that bullshiggity, and 78% of black men. But thankfully, the 28%, thankful to you, 28%, you saved the line. We're at least able to tread water, and that's the only reason why I came back live, because 28% of us got some act right. And went out here and decimated and participated in the decimation of the Demon Rat Party. Mm-hmm. Yes, Bruce, we made a lot of noise. Don't ever get it confused. They've been against us since the days of slavery. Yes, they have. And playing us all the while. Hi, Audra. Audra Walton. Bruce said, I say deportation 100 times a day to keep my teeth white. I'm good. That lady is Hindu. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, with that being said, we're at 3:14, family. I want to thank you guys so very much for joining the live. It's been rich. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the last and final installment of As the Nation Becomes Cali. Where is the Negro going and with what? With that being said, I'm going to do in the spirit of Maurice, and I'm going to repeat the prayer of protection that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever the Negro freedmen and its allies are. God truly is, because, family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until we meet tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your Saturday and weekend. And until tomorrow, family, I'm believing for each and every one of us.